In this video, we highlight top 10 criminals in the history of Nigeria. Lawrence Anini, aka The Law. Lawrence Anini remains the most notorious armed robber to have terrorized the country. Report has it that he was a Nigerian bandit who caused havoc in Benin City in the 80s together with his accomplice, Monday Oshumbo. Lawrence Anini was popularly known as The Law or Obibo, who was majorly known as a driver for gangs, criminal godfathers, and armed robbers. It was reported that he and his gang members began operations as car hijackers, bank thieves, and robbers of buses. Reports also have it that Anini and his gang members successfully robbed 12 banks and killed 18 people in the process. Their level of confidence was so high that they went about throwing money at market women in order to gain popularity. After being apprehended, Anini and his gang members were found guilty and were sentenced to death by firing squad. Ishola Onyenusi. Like Anini, Dr. Onyenusi was a robbery generalissimo that held the western part of the country in the jugular. Onyenusi was a cold-blooded armed robber who held sway in the early 70s. He was eventually apprehended and executed on September 8, 1971 at the famous Bar Beach, witnessed by about 30,000 Nigerians. Famed for his supernatural power, it was hard to believe Onyenusi could be captured. At the nadir of his criminal escapades, he was reported to have boasted that bullet has no power over me. His last robbery operation was at Wahum factory in Ikeja in March 1971, where he and his gang members stole a sum of £28,000 and killed a police officer in the process. He later died that same year. Dr. Ishola Onyenusi would forever be remembered for his boldness and arrogance when it comes to robbery. Shinarambo. Shinarambo hailed from Abeokuta, Ogun State. Shinarambo was another fearsome criminal in Nigerian's history. He was a prolific terror in the 90s and the brains behind many attacks in the southwest where he robbed and killed with impunity. He was reportedly on his way to Lanre Motors to buy a Pathfinder SUV when he was apprehended by the police at the Ojota New Garage. He wanted to disarm a policeman questioning him over a lot of money in his car trunk when another officer at the other side of the road shot him. Another account has it that the person killed was not the real Shinarambo. A repentant criminal, Matthew Oluwanifemi, who claimed to be the real Rambo, is now a man of God. Meanwhile, while some report has it that he died while in operation, others said he died as an ordinary man. Whichever way, he died while he was not using his charm, as he was known to be a demigod while he performed operation on busy highways. Derrick Onwamama. Okodili Ndiwe, also known as Derrick Onwamama, was also one of the deadliest armed robbers to have terrorized Nigeria. In the early 2000s, the 22-year-old Derrick Onwamama was infamous in the eastern part of the country, taking after the likes of Anini and Onyenusi. A very popular southeast armed bandit, Okodili Ndiwe, was given the title the King of the Underworld. Residents of Onitsha, a commercial place in Anambra State, were the set of people who experienced his onslaught the most. According to sources, Okodili Ndiwe had allegedly murdered over 100 people, which included about 25 police officers. He was known to be a merciless armed robber who robbed buses with his gang members. Derrico was arrested on July 3, 2001 on his way to Onitsha from Agbo in Delta State while he was on an operation. The Pakasi boys, who were known for their glory justice system, paraded Derrick Onwamama around Onitsha, and they finally beheaded him in an open square while declining requests from the Nigerian police to bring him to their custody. Mighty Joe. Mighty Joe, whose real name is Ishaka Bosari, was the second in command to Onyenusi. Mighty Joe had in his camp ex-soldiers who were demobilized, very adept at handling guns and other deadly weapons. The gang ran riot on the nation, particularly the southwest, robbing and killing without let. He operated at his own time and was even known to be a deadlier version of Onyenusi. The nabbing of Mighty Joe was very dramatic. One of his previous victims recognized him and alerted the police. He was taken away into police custody without any fight and later executed. Abubakar Shekau. Abu Muhammad Abubakar bin Muhammad al-Shekawi, popularly known as Shekau, was the leader of Boko Haram, who held northeast, especially Borno State, to ransom for years. He served as deputy leader to the group's founder, Mohammed Yusuf, until 2009, when the latter was executed. On more than one occasion, the Nigerian government claimed the military killed Shekau, only for him to reappear in viral videos, making more threats and boasting of his criminal prowess. For instance, Nigerian authorities believe believe that Shekau was killed in 2009 during clashes between security forces and Boko Haram until July 2010 when Shekau appeared in a video claiming leadership of the group. His group raided communities, took over towns, and abducted locals, including children. The 2014 abduction of Chibok schoolgirls remains one of the cruelest attacks by Boko Haram. An investigation by the Wall Street Journal, backed by recent reports by Nigerian officials, stated that Shekau killed himself by detonating a suicide vest following his running battle with the leadership of a splinter terrorist group loyal to the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, ISIS. Shekau's rival, Abu Masab al-Banawi, also confirmed that he killed himself. Ghana. Tewase Akwaza, well known as Ghana, was a most wanted criminal and head of a militia group in Benue State. He terrorized Katsina, Ala, Ukum, and Logo local government areas for more than a decade, but his criminal activities peaked between 2015 and 2020. His gang invaded communities and kidnapped residents at will, collecting millions of naira in ransom. Ghana was also accused of massacres, assassinations, robberies, cattle rustling, terrorism, and murders. A bounty of 50 million naira was placed on his head after several failed attempts to track him down. He was eventually murdered by the Nigerian army after he turned himself in for amnesty on September 8, 2020. Gogodo. Abiodun Egunjobi, aka Gogodo, was the new version of Anini, a notorious armed robber and ex-convict. Gogodo constituted a major security threat in Lagos and other southwestern states for many years. Growing up in a slum to become a robbery kingpin, Gogodo was a nightmare for the police for about 14 years until his arrest on August 1st, 2013 by the defunct Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Lagos State Police Command led by the now suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari. His arrest was well celebrated by the command. He was also known as the one-eyed assassin who killed without mercy and did all sorts of atrocities. Evans. The most recent on the list of top criminals to have terrorized Nigeria is Chukwudi Onwamadike, popularly known as Evans, fondly referred to as the billionaire kidnapper because of huge ransoms he collected from relatives of his victims and his opulent lifestyle. Evans, a smart and crafty kidnapper who evaded arrest for 4 years, was on a most wanted list in 3 states, Lagos, Edo, and Anambra states. He also worked with a soldier who acted as his informant. In some of the kidnapping operations he led, he collected up to $1 million in ransom. He was arrested in 2017 in a joint operation by the Lagos State Police Command and the Inspector General of Police Intelligence Response Team led by suspended DCP Kyari, who was the head of the unit at the time. Bado of Ikorodu. He dealt specially in Ikorodu axis of Lagos State while molesting children and women as well as robbing people. The Bado of Ikorodu terrorized Ikorodu for a long period of time while escaping attempts by the police to convict him even after he was arrested multiple times. However, on one occasion where he got released by the police, the Ikorodu community reportedly became courageous and set the Bado of Ikorodu on fire. They decided to put a stop to the terror themselves. If you want to see more interesting videos, even way better than this one, all you have to do is to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification.